these defenses were nowhere. I'm going to say it one more time just in case you didn't hear me the first time. Nowhere to be found. Welcome to Her Sports Convo with Ashleigh Wilson. Hey y'all, well, welcome back. Crazy to see you here again. I hope you had a good week last week. I hope you have a good week this week. Well, you're probably not having a good week if you're a Bucs fan, a Bills fan, a Packers fan, or a Titans fan. And I would like to give my sweet condolences to you of how you were so close yet so far away. And it wouldn't be the show if we didn't talk about the NFL division round. And before we get into that, breaking news, not to you guys because it's literally 2 days later after this happened, but truly 15 minutes ago, I saw that Sean Payton is leaving or stepping away from the Saints. Like, what? Crazy. But I mean, I don't blame him. Like, you went from having like Drew Brees, Super Bowl, the whole city behind your back to now you have Jameis Winston as your starting quarterback and or kind of sort of Taysom Hill, who honestly the best and the biggest winner out of this whole entire situation, Taysom Hill. He got a massive contract extension that basically means if he shows up, he makes like $10 million every game, which is great. Good for him. We love to see it. Hope I can find one of those too. The game's changing, and I think he realized that. Maybe he realized it before we all, notice him realizing it, as why he put out that interesting movie with Kevin James. We're not going to go back on that tangent, but go back and listen to that episode if you must. He can't really go coach for another team right now because he still has 3 years in his contract left with the Saints and they still own his rights. That sounds really bad when you think about that like that. But I'm not getting on that soapbox today. Maybe another day. But they still have his coaching rights. So another team would have to pay a good amount of money to get that from him. But he said, right now he's really settled in and trying to figure it all out, which makes sense. I mean, he was with the Saints for almost a decade. That is a long time to be in one city, one franchise. And for most of it, it was all with one quarterback, the same scheme, the same situation. And aside from the injuries they had this year and all the other things that, we all know went down in the last season and this season, the game is changing. The NFL, from what him and Drew Brees started and really got working very well in New Orleans, is not the same offense and schemes that really work in the game now. Maybe he'll be sitting next to Drew Brees on NBC. Probably not, because they already have a coach on Football Night in America, but you never know. We might never know. We never knew one weekend in football could possibly have that much entertainment as this weekend did. Y'all, I was supposed to be working this weekend and I would have missed the first game of each weekend, and I'm low-key still mad about that. If you're out there and I'm talking to, still low-key mad about that. But also, I'm kind of glad I was able to see all the games through their duration, which also really isn't necessary, as we all know all the good ones got good in the fourth quarter. And we started it all off with Tennessee. Now, I have a few things to say about Tennessee personally. They, did some little voodoo magic to get Derrick Henry back. And now he's back and he's out here running on vibes. This man probably has 9 million cortisone shots in his leg. As he said, they had metal plates and steel rods and screws. He went full on Megatron, just running around, not feeling a thing. And you don't give him the ball in 3rd and 1. You let it be a quarterback sneak when your quarterback is Ryan Tannehill. Again, no offense to Ryan Tannehill, but Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry. I don't even care if he has a leg made of metal right now. Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry. I'm going to go with Derrick Henry 100 out of 100 times. I'm pretty sure you would do the exact same, as that's not what they did at Tennessee, and they ended up, blowing it and losing the game. Which is also insane, as they were literally, their defense was crispy for most of the game. As we all know, Joe Burrow did not have the easiest time as he was sacked again and again and again and again. I'm literally shocked because I know if it was me, I would have been like, can y'all like try to stop them? Because it's not looking like we're trying to stop them. And it's feeling like y'all have something against me. Because if we got something, let me know. Because it was just not cute. But that's why they say there's 3 phases in the game. And as that was very much proven this weekend that, seeing the offense is great and defense was championships or whatever. The battle in the trenches and the play of your special teams is really what can kill your Super Bowl potential run or not. And we saw that the entire season, but it was really on highlight this weekend as a lot of people stepped up. Like, honestly, I think every single kicker should have gotten a raise this week. Every single kicker should have gotten a raise. Maybe not the people on the Green Bay team, but that's a whole situation. That's a whole different other situation. But everybody else stepped up and they got the job done. And it just really showed that in this game, we really focus on offense and defense, but those special teams guys, they are really important. If you don't have a good one, you don't have a good coordinator, and they don't know what they're doing, you're going to end up sitting at home in February. And you don't want to be that. You don't want to be in that situation, which is the same situation that Green Bay is going to be in as Aaron Rodgers, a.k.a. Football Rogan, will be sitting at home watching the game. I am not one to conspiracy theory. Well, I kind of am. We're not. Let me not. But, the legend says that I'm pretty sure they were like, oh, I'm so sad that Aaron lost. But the 49ers are 1 game away from bringing the Super Bowl. Like, come on now, y'all. But as we've known this entire season, like, their special teams, I'm not going to say trash, but they've been real close to it. We're going to say the recycling. Because, the recycling and the trash right now, they've been the recycling to the trash this season. And it really showed off on Saturday afternoon how they couldn't get the job done. And, the playoffs are about every single part of your game has to be right. And they were just hoping and betting on that defense and offense could just be enough for them to win. And it wasn't. Which is sad for them, but also I'm ready to see the chaos ensue with Aaron Rodgers. I think it would be more chaos for him to stay and we get another season of will Aaron stay? Will Aaron go? Or will he just pull a full Andrew Luck and be like, I've gotten out, same round, every single year. Basically, he's one step away from being the Tennessee Titans because I feel like every year the Tennessee Titans, they're projected to make it to the Super Bowl or at least make it to the AFC Championship. They host a game, they lose. Somebody can go find the facts, but I feel like that happens every year. And that's, really sounding like the recipe of Green Bay at this point. Like, they're all cooking the same recipe and the meal is turning out awful. Because why are 2 top teams always losing before you get to the NFC and AFC Championship? It makes no sense. But we do have to give credit to the 49ers who came back in that game because let me tell you, I thought they were goners. Gone, TKO, no coming back. It was written off. But, Jimmy G and friends, they pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and they got the job done. Now, how that job will get done against the Rams next week, I don't know. But as we've seen from this weekend, anything can happen. As that anything can also be stopping Tom Brady from an epic Tom Brady comeback. Because Matthew Stafford has cemented his legacy this weekend. And I am so, so happy for him. Because, now hear me out. I feel like because the Detroit Lions were so bad for so long, we kind of associate, I say we as a football society, NFL kind of people, the homies, we decided that, that is Matthew Stafford. He's just not that good of a quarterback. And he is the reason why they're always 1-16, 0-17. He's the reason why they're always that. But as we've seen with his short time in Los Angeles, that it wasn't him. Well, it still could be him, but he's showing that, I'm not going to be he's the man, But yeah, he got the job done. Like, he threw that long pass to homie who was wide open in the middle of the field. Like, Buccaneers, aren't y'all supposed to be the top rated defense in the league? Like, come on now. Do better, Devin White and friends. But he threw the pass. He made the passes. He called the plays. He did the schemes. He did what I personally thought that Matthew Stafford could do in times with Matthew Stafford needed to get done. And his legacy cemented. Another legacy cemented. Another legacy that was cemented this weekend also was Odell Beckham Jr.'s. As we all know, he was pitted as, the bad guy in that situation. And now he's turned it around. Now, again, none of us were there, but the man was catching catches. Yeah, we're going to go with it. He was catching touchdowns. He was getting the job done. I think this is what we're going to call the name of this episode. They got the job done, because I keep saying it. But you really got to give the Rams credit, because they have basically a team full of very good people that were on other teams at other places, and they kind of brought them all together. And I feel like they're, I don't want to say feeding themselves the underdog mentality, but kind of as a collective, they're like, everyone thought we were bad because we were all on pretty bad teams before we got here. And our team was also kind of bad before we got here. So now that we're all together, we're going to fight this and we're going to take it as long as it can go. Because personally, let's have, SoFi be a home game for the Super Bowl. Again, you got any tickets, let me know. I'll be there. But I feel like that would be fun to see again, as it was fun to see last year when the Bucs won. And the ceiling is the roof. The ceiling is the roof for the Rams. And, well, is that a good terminology? I never understood that, to be honest. So if anyone could let me know in the comments or my DMs at Her Sport Convo to let me know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because I never truly understood that. So I'm going to go with this saying of the ceiling is insurmountable for where they can go, as I felt like most of the people on this team, Jalen Ramsey at the Jaguars, OBJ in the Browns, Matthew Stafford at the Lions, Von Miller in the Broncos, like all these situations, they are truly, I feel like the team to beat in the NFC. That's what I'm going to say. And they have very far potential and very far to go, as they tried their very best to lose that football game. Let's be honest. They tried their very best. Cam Akers, bless his heart, big fan after he had that nasty ACL tear, and he still managed to come back and do very well last week, the week before. And, this week his nerves got a little best of him. The nerves shook him up a little bit too much, but his friends were there to help him out, and they still managed to win, because I personally felt bad for him. Like, he fumbled 3 times. Like, ooh, that's not good. That's not good on me. So I feel like we're going to have a big game from him next week, especially. And I think that now the Buccaneers season is over, and we have every rumor under the sun about Tom Brady and if he's coming back, if he's going to retire, blah. I don't think we're going to know anything about Tom Brady's future until the summertime. I'm going to put it out there. We're not going to know anything about Tom Brady till after the draft. I'm thinking May, June. May, June is when we're going to feel it, when we're going to hear about it, what's going on, what's going to happen. He's given the whole, I love my family, but I love football, but we can't play this game forever sequence. He's just given us what people want to hear, the same old, because honestly, no professional athlete is going to stop playing the game that they've played their entire life when they're still playing the game. Like, they're playing the game, and I don't mean playing the game just putting on the pads and going out there and doing it, but they're like actually doing it, winning, being there. Like, he almost got them the win. Like, they were right there. Like, Matthew Stafford and friends were so close from losing that one, and he was in it with them. So if it goes the way that I think it's going to go, we're not done seeing Tom Brady really put a lot of pressure on this league, and especially the NFC. Especially if Aaron Rodgers comes out and said he's leaving the NFC, or specifically leaving the Green Bay Packers. Oh, it's going to be on and popping. And I'm excited to see it. Another person who I was excited to see was Mr. Josh Allen. Like, oh my gosh. Let's take a second and appreciate the quarterback play we had in arguably the best football game of the year. I'm going to take the arguably out. The best football game of this season took place in front of our eyes at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time this Sunday. Which, personally, can we have our Sunday night football game be at 6:30 from now on? I love that idea. It was great. The game was over. It wasn't midnight. I could still watch another show before I went to bed. Like, it was great timing. I love it. I appreciate it. Sincerely, a football watcher who lives on the East Coast. But besides that, it was such great play that we witnessed. And as we all know, everyone had doubts about Josh Allen and the Bills. Were they serious? Now, yes, they lost, unfortunately, in one of those games. As you know, commentators always say, no one's really going to lose in this game. One team's just going to win, which basically means, the other team's going to lose. But I am very against those things. But I really saw it in this game as they were two very good offenses, given the fact that these defenses were nowhere. I'm going to say it one more time just in case you didn't hear me the first time. Nowhere to be found in this football game because, oh my golly, Miss Molly, specifically in the last 2 minutes of this football game. It was a offense heavy, what I like to see. As we know, I'm a big gal who loves the trenches, who loves the wars being fought in the trenches. But the trenches were lost this weekend. Let me tell you, the trenches were all one-sided or just not even there to begin with, which is fine. Like, hey, if we're going to do it, we're not going to do it. I'm great. I'm fine with that. But in this game, the offense was just chef's kiss, fantastic and amazing. And I'm going to say what we all have been saying. Personally, I've been saying it for a very long time, that the league needs to look at their overtime rules, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to sit here and restate what I've said 900 times, that, everyone should get a chance. All I'm going to say is that the team who wins the coin flip has won 10 out of the 11 overtime game plays. They are 10-1. The coin flip winner is 10-1. Look at the numbers. Put the people aside and look at the numbers. Because let me tell you, if this was that Mississippi State LSU game that went 9 overtime, and I sat there, watched all 9, I would sit here and watch all 19 if that's what it took to get a winner. And it's not even like they're changing the rules, because the rules were technically already changed, as it was a 15-minute period instead of a 10-minute period. And there was 2 50-minute periods before that. It was like if nobody scored touchdown on their first possessions, then it was the next score wins. And that's just not how it goes in the regular season. So if we're changing the rules, let's just go ahead and change that first possession touchdown doesn't win the game. The rules are already changed, so let's just add that one in there. Like, Kabuna Kabana. Now, all of y'all are saying who your defense should be better, blah, blah, blah. In a game that's going into overtime, defense does not exist. 9 out of 10, if your game is going into overtime, it is just a high fly, powering, scoring affair, which is fun to see, and it makes good TV, and it really makes good TV. And I think that people on the internet really did jinx the Bills as they kept posting that photo of Stephon Diggs looking at the confetti fall down last year when the Bills played the Chiefs in the game before the AFC Championship. I think they really jinxed them. So hopefully next year, if these two teams find themselves right back here in 2023, that picture will be deleted from the face of the internet and give them an actual shot. But if it does, it does. And we'll probably sit here talking about the same thing next year. So who knows what's going to happen? Who's going to the Super Bowl? Again, I'm not going to give any predictions because I'm really getting out of the business of jinxing people, because this is their livelihoods. These are their bonuses. They're trying to buy yachts and boats and, take themselves on vacation, investment properties. I'm not in the business of ruining people's lives, but I'm excited to see what happens. It's either going to be one way or the other, since last week was so insane, as every game was won by last second possession, it's going to be either very boring, as in what I mean by boring is it's going to be such a blowout. It's going to be very one-sided, or we're going to have the same thing. We're going to have neck, tooth, back and forth, blah, 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 until the very end. I hope we get the second one. Again, probably won't, because we had such a crazy weekend this weekend. But I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see where fate takes Patrick Mahomes and friends. Or does Joe Burrow and his friends have some kind of magical, mystical power over the football gods and the city of Cincinnati and the state of Ohio? Can they go to LA? Like, oh, wouldn't that be a story? Back from his ACL tear, takes his team to the Super Bowl. Like, oh, that is a story to be told. I can see it right now. Full lights. Even if they lose, they're probably still writing the scripts right now. So we'll see. I know I really don't talk about the NBA that much, but I would be doing us all a disservice if I did not talk about Grayson Allen. I am upset that I'm giving this man some of my time, but this needs to be told. So if you're new here, or you just, don't pay attention to the NBA, which is fine. We all have our interests. Good for you. Grayson Allen is, known for being a dirty player. And he plays for the Bucks now. He used to play for the Grizzlies. And during a game this week with the Chicago Bulls, he went to go foul Alex Caruso, who's going up for a layup, and pulled his arm down, and Alex Caruso fell down to the ground and ended up hurting his wrist, and he had to get surgery. Alex Caruso will be out now 6 to 8 weeks. And the league suspended Grayson Allen for 1 game. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, y'all. 1 game to a 2-month rest and recovery process. That just doesn't add up. And it maybe would only be 1 game if this was his first instance of doing this. If this man has a long history of being a dirty player, come on now. And I get if you're any of those whole heads, you were people were punching each other in the face and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, people were mean and excited and passionate, but what Grayson Allen is doing is different. It's different. And I feel like with any situation, again, I have 0 children, not really a big fan of the small ones, but if they're doing bad things, you have to teach them a lesson. And suspending them for 1 game is not that lesson you have to teach them. You got to do better, Adam Silver. You're over here finding people who quote tweet something a player is playing. You're that's interrogation or fraternizing or whatever they call it. Come on now. And you won't crack down on the things that you're showing on national televised TV? Come on. This is not cool. Not cool at all. And I'm mad about it, if you can't tell. Other things that I feel like as a society we should slightly be concerned about is the fact that Auburn's men's basketball team is ranked number 1 for the first time ever. And if you've been living in a rock your whole entire life and you don't know, 1, who Charles Barkley is, 2, that he went to Auburn, we're living in this society now. Am I the only one concerned about us? That Charles Barkley is an alumni of the number 1 ranked basketball team in the country right now? I'm a little concerned for all of us personally, but I'm excited. If you've seen them play, Bruce Pearl has always had a good team. And this year, the good team that he's putting together for the past few years, they finally got all the pieces. They got enough people who are not the age of 16, and they got, mature people with the talented people, and they're making it work, and they deserve the number 1 ranking. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm just saying this is a world we live in now. So y'all better be careful, because anything could literally happen nowadays. Anything, nothing's off the table. Everything is open, guns a fire. Watch out for yourself. Well, that is all I got for this week. Make sure to like, comment, rate, subscribe wherever you decide to listen to your podcast today. Head on over to Instagram and follow at Her Sports Convo to stay up to date on all the Her Sports Convo. Check out the main channel where I post new videos every single Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out this week's video because it is all about Athletes Unlimited basketball that started technically yesterday for you guys. And make sure y'all get all that so you can tap in and be ready, because we're definitely going to talk about that next week as well. And make sure you check out the podcast channel where I post new podcast episodes every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time if you would like to watch me talk to myself for fun. You know, we're just out here having fun, kids. As always, be safe, have fun, and don't be afraid to join the convo.